And Les Jackson.
Control.
Everything you need to know about new and used cars.
Control.
Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air.
Control.
Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin.
Control.
Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
That's right. Your ride is about to begin. Whoa, it actually has begun. Welcome, everyone. It's Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Ready for another great hour of automotive information there, Les?
I am. I'm all buckled up, and I've cleaned the windshield.
Oh, good. It looks very clear from where I can see it.
Yep.
We're going to start this hour with a list of vehicles that are selling over MSRP. Will this ever change? I don't know, but there is a list from IC Cars of vehicles that sell over MSRP. It's great prep if you're going to buy a vehicle, and you won't be shocked when you walk in.
Don't buy one of them.
Don't buy one. No, there's plenty of
buy
great
something
vehicles.
else. Anyway, Hertz and GM team up for fleet electrification. Here it comes.
Yeah, and this is not electrified. This has a Hemi in it. We're going to talk about Dodge revealing two more of its last call models. These are the models that are going to be the last models with the Hemi engine in it. We'll talk about both of them. Do you know, I think there's going to be 7 models. Do you think anyone is going to buy one of each?
There's always somebody who does that.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking tech, cars that know how you feel and have your back when it comes to the road. Now, this seems maybe a little frivolous, but I think it's a really good idea.
Gee, Les, you appear not to be happy today. How can I make it better? How about a seat massage?
Generally, generally when the car talks to me, it says, "You look horrible."
Yeah, well, if you have a Tesla, it might not be talking to you, because one owner found out he got locked out of his vehicle and they told him it would cost $20,000 to get back in. And their windows are getting pinchy. They seem to have problems with things like doors and windows. You know, the auto industry has cleared those problems up a while ago, haven't they?
Well, the rest of the industry did, with one exception. Anyway, are you ready for Megazilla? Well, it could be coming to an engine bay near you.
Picture a guy in a rubber suit walking around on the set.
You're going to need a generous engine bay, so don't plan on putting it in your MG.
Oh man, that would definitely be SEMA-like to just jam it in there.
Crazy.
Yeah, just get that torch out and just open it up. Yeah. We're also going to get to a couple of stories we didn't get to last hour. Hitchless towing, which seems weird, and BMW decreasing its electric range or limiting it. What do we think about that? I don't know. And an electric car that can charge in 10 minutes, but hopefully it doesn't start glowing. We'll talk about that and more when Fred Staub, that's me, and Les Jackson come back on Cruise Control. Stick with us. We will be right back. You know, Les, tales of electric vehicles. I think I was telling you last hour, I had a number of electric vehicles. I drove the GV60, which is the Genesis smaller all-electric vehicle. I loved it. It's very rare. It was just released in May, and I had a chance to drive it last weekend, put a couple of 100 miles on it. Went to charge it. I just kept doing maintenance charges with 110 volts, which worked. But I went to a charge station, and it had typically had a couple of levels of charger, I guess a level 3 charger. That was gone. There was just a wire sticking out of the ground.
Yep.
And then the other one said, use your flow card to charge this up with level 2. I was like, what the heck is a flow card? Well, I later found out you can use a charge point account.
Oh, okay.
But it was so confusing.
It is confusing. ChargePoint is the biggest of them. Most people, I have a charge point app, but there's EV Go. There are just
Electrify
so many,
America. Yeah.
and you can't join all these. That just doesn't work.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a hit and miss type of thing, and
Yeah.
I don't know. As I said earlier, I still think right now a plug-in hybrid or hybrid is the way to go.
You, yep. Otherwise, if you have an electric, you have to either have it in your home, which means you better have at least a 200 amp service,
Right? That's
preferably
expensive
more.
if you don't have that.
Yep. And or um, you got to plot out time
Boom
of
5.
day and where the chargers are.
Here we come back live.
Never mind.
Nope. We'll be when we come back in. Les will bring us in.
My
But
brain's a little
just
a minute
talking
fast.
during the break here. Yeah. And it's funny. You sent me that clip from Saturday Night Live about the battery powered, the
Yeah.
double A cell battery
Double
powered.
the Mercedes double A class.
And part of the gag was they said, "Oh, it can go 52 miles an hour." That is wrong. Electric cars are so fast that the
Incredibly fast.
acceleration, it actually makes some people jump in the car because
Yep.
it's like a drag car, instant hit.
Yeah. You are launched. You're not accelerated.
I wonder if anyone's built a hybrid drag car to launch tremendously
Now in
hard
5.
off the line,
Hmm.
with
A
that.
public service
Here we
of
go.
parallel.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. This is your on-air automotive magazine. Now, those of you out there who are buying or have bought new vehicles have probably noticed.
I'm sorry, that's nothing against you, but
No, but you've probably noticed that you can't get a deal on them, and in many, many, many cases, the dealers are actually tacking on additional money. Now, we've been advising you go somewhere else, or
buy
if you
something
can.
different.
But anyway, we have a list.
Yeah, from
of,
iccars.com.
Yep, from of the vehicles that are selling for some percentage above MSRP.
Yeah, and there's a list. We'll kind of go through them from the bottom. Genesis GV80 sells for 10 grand over its sticker.
Yeah.
Genesis,
Ford,
great vehicles.
yeah, it is. And Ford Maverick they've been selling above since they introduced them.
I saw a great piece on Maverick where they looked at it and they said it was a great design by Ford because it cut the manufacturing costs, and they did things like to get crush space in the back of the truck, the spare tires underneath the bed, but it has a thing that will cut through the tire if you get hit in the back to expand the tire and create more crush zone. So they did. It's called engineering, folks. Right?
It's called engineering.
Yeah. Let's move up the list. Jeep Gladiator, $8,000 over the sticker on average.
It's getting up there. And the Lexus RX 350L, 9,000, over 9,000. Again, we're not suggesting you pay this.
No.
Just walk away. Either don't buy it or
Wait.
get something else.
Wait until everything
Or
squares
wait.
away. Yeah. Just jumping ahead. Mini hardtop two-door. Not necessarily it's kind of a unique car, but it's not necessarily one that you would say, "Oh my gosh, that's something worth waiting for." Pretty common.
That's right.
5,426. As I told you, I had a friend of the family buy an Accord and had to spend $5,000 over the sticker. They just
don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Mercedes Benz GLB.
Right.
That's 7,650 over. Again, it's worth it in any of these cases phone, look up around the country.
Yeah.
There's bound to be a dealer of that brand who's selling at least for MSRP.
And
And I
frankly,
don't yet
frankly, it's worth it to take a plane there
fly out there and drive it back.
and get a cab over to the dealer and drive it
Yep,
back. Could be a little bit of an adventure too, right?
sure.
You can get it serviced by any dealer, so it doesn't matter that you
By
didn't buy it
law,
there.
they have to service it.
Now we get up into some chunky additional things over MSRP. Chevy Corvette, of course, they've had trouble building these things. They've had all kinds of things happen. Great car, lots of demand. 14,697 over MSRP. This is one vehicle. If you go to whatever Kerbeck is called these days, because they sold, they typically will sell at MSRP. It's real easy to pick it off, and
Yeah.
they know there's another one up in New Hampshire. I can't think of his name. It's I think a Mick something or other dealer, and Corvette people are like, oh my God, what they know it, the name of it, but they advertise, sell at MSRP. So basically, go on their site, say I want that one at MSRP. I'll send you a check or however you want me to transfer the money, and go up
Right.
and pick it up. Right?
That's right. That's right. Same is true with the Porsche Cayenne.
Oh.
Nice car. 16,750 over. No. No.
Not doing it. Wrangler Unlimited, which is the four-door version of the Jeep Wrangler, $8,877 over.
You've been able to buy Jeeps for the last 75 years. Just wait.
Genesis GV70. People love Genesis. It's a great brand, great vehicles. 10,278 over.
Yes, the Porsche Macan, 14,221 over.
And the good old Jeep Wrangler two-door, 8,433.
Again,
Uh-huh.
don't. Well, I mean, if you have to buy something,
Shop
that's
around.
different.
Shop around.
around.
Yeah, I've gone online and seen that, there's 3 dealers and 2 of them will sell it at MSRP with no markup. And you know what? They get my business. So that's over at iccars.com if you want to see the full list. Fred Staub, Les Jackson. We will be right back on Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. We just went through the the markup prices on other vehicles, and
Don't do it.
hey, stay away.
Yeah, just a little bit of shopping. You can save yourself $5,000, right?
Absolutely,
Or more, you know?
absolutely. Would you like to explain hitchless towing to me?
Sure. Sure. Let me explain hitchless towing.
Please do.
This is from Toyota. Now, let's say it first off the bat, you're not going to be able to tow your unpowered vehicle this way.
Okay.
You're not going to be able to have like a travel trailer, or as the Brits say, a caravan, and then just, not hitch it to your truck and have it move along. What this is it's hitchless towing, meaning that two cars can be controlled together. In other words, it's just like, remember when they said a tractor trailer, we could have four of them tightly in line with each other using adaptive cruise control, using, self-driving, all that. That's what we're talking about here. And they say it could be great for rental car companies delivering a car, a repair, a company that repaired your vehicle, and they instead of putting it on a trailer, they could have it follow along behind their car and then electronically disconnect it. That's what they're talking about. Perhaps Toyota used the example of two minivans. They had a primary Sienna minivan up front, and then if you have a lot of people to haul, you could have the other one behind it, tracking behind it at a close distance, and you wouldn't have to drive it. That's what hitchless towing is. Could you have a boat trailer with a small engine on it and it followed behind you? I guess you could, but it might be easier just to hitch it to the vehicle physically.
Well, or if you had a big motorhome, you could have your spare car drive behind you.
You could, or you could do it the other way. You could have the motorhome drive behind. I thought of that, the dinky as they call it. Yeah, you could have that as your car. So anything could pull anything, really, because it's not pulling it. The other vehicle is powering.
But you have New York traffic. I have DC traffic. How close can it follow before somebody doesn't pull in between you?
Yeah, that's a great point. And then do you control their car?
well,
no, I don't want to get off at that exit. You're getting off at that exit, whether you like it or not.
You belong to me now.
No, I can't control it. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, here's where I can see this. They have those double tractor trailers, and sometimes they have triples. If you had a bunch of trailers with an electric motor on it, right, and then you had another vehicle up front that was kind of escorting them, this would work for that, don't you think?
Let me get a calculator to add up all the reasons not to do this.
Someone said in this article this will work really well until it doesn't. I just picture one of the trailers exiting off an exit while you keep going straight. Right?
This is high on the list of the what can possibly go wrong side of things. So we'll continue to follow this.
We'll follow this technology. But here's some technology that is interesting, and it comes from Hertz and GM. They are announcing a major EV expansion. Hertz will increase the EV component of its fleet, and it will be using GM vehicles, electric GM vehicles from Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Cadillac, and BrightDrop, which BrightDrop is interesting. I believe, aren't they the ones that are building the electric vans for Amazon?
Yeah.
Can I rent an Amazon van? That would be interesting. Or an electric van, it would be
yes,
great.
you can, as long as you deliver all the packages.
What's interesting here is a lot of these things are volts, which makes me sad because I like the Volt. I hope it's just not being dumped into the fleet, though.
Yeah.
To
Well,
offload.
this is a great way for people to experience electric vehicles.
I agree. I always said if you could rent the vehicle, and unfortunately, a lot of times when you go to rent a vehicle, you don't get the exact vehicle you asked for. If you
Right.
said, "Oh, I'm really interested in this car. I'd like to rent it for a weekend and drive it around, give it a real good test." It's hard to get the exact car that you
It
want.
is.
But an electric vehicle, I think if for someone stepping in, like saying, oh, well, electric vehicles are slow, or I don't know how I would feel driving one. If you just wanted to get a vehicle, a Bolt or a Bolt EUV or something else, I think it would be great. Now, will Hertz have electric infrastructure? I guess they will have chargers at their
Oh,
destination.
sure.
I think that would be great for them just to do for everybody, as another source of chargers, right?
Yeah. Except most of their locations are at airports, and it's pretty inconvenient to.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to drive over the no backing up.
You can charge your vehicle, but you lose a set of tires.
That's it. You're not allowed.
Well, we'll let you charge up free, but you're going to have to buy 4 new tires. Yeah, that always worried me. That, like, imagine if you're on a hill and they had that, and you're in a car with a clutch and it rolls back a little bit.
Boom.
I always thought that was a terrible thing to do. It was just terrible. Like, hey, I'm going to damage your car,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but let's talk a little bit about what Dodge has planned. You know, and I know, and we've talked about this, and probably our audience knows, Dodge is moving away from internal combustion engines. Unlike Ford that we talked about last hour. Dodge just, they don't have a lot of electric vehicles. They don't have any electric vehicles. They will get them, but they're not going to be able to build these big Hemis anymore. And so they've come up with these last call cars. I think it's about 7 of them. And they're very collectible, are probably very expensive. Talk about markups.
Yep.
But they have this one here, the Dodge Charger King Daytona, in a funky orange color. I love those wheels. Those wheels are really cool looking.
The wheels are great. Color I've never liked.
It's going to have orange interior stitching.
Although it's Halloween is coming up.
There you go. This is the 6th model. The 7th and final model will be revealed at SEMA in November 1st through 4th. But this is the King Daytona Charger. Now, if you're more into a Challenger, then you have the Ghost Black model, Hemi Black Ghost model, I should say. Only 300 of these will be produced. Sure, you're going to buy that for the sticker, aren't you?
Yep, there you go.
It's got Alcantara and Laguna leather seats, door bolsters, Alcantara steering wheel, and then it is kind of the murdered out look. It's got the twin nostrils on the hood, pretty cool. Yep. And it will have a commemorative Last Call underhood plaque.
And it comes with your own personalized book of speeding tickets.
Pre-filled out.
You may as well just fill them all out before you buy the car.
Yeah. A gator skin roof vinyl graphics.
Vinyl roofs. Wow.
I guess it's you know what it is? It's like a wrap, the partial wrap to simulate a vinyl roof.
Yeah, but look how long it's been since vinyl roofs were around.
It's interesting. But you think about it, a wrap would be a great way to simulate a vinyl roof. It's painted underneath. You can peel it off if you want. It shouldn't damage the paint. But collect them all. 7 available, folks. The Last Call to Dodge Hemis.
I bet they're 150 grand each.
Yeah. Coming up, plenty more cruise control. We're going to talk tech and Tesla lockouts. Stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Les was putting in his order for all those last call Hemis.
All in orange.
Including the ticket book, right, Les?
I got the ticket book. They're all going to be orange with pumpkin interior.
Does it have pumpkin spice, like a essence of pumpkin spice? Isn't that
Yes.
we're getting into pumpkin spice? Are you a fan of that? Some people are like
No,
freaked out by it.
no.
I'm okay with it. Coffee, pumpkin, coffee.
I am a coffee aficionado. I want coffee.
You coffee
I want
purist.
cream and sugar in it. I don't want flavored coffee. I don't want. I don't want Cope Luwak coffee.
I don't even know what that is.
It's the most expensive coffee in the world.
You mean it's not
About $100
Starbucks?
a pound.
Starbucks.
No. It's actually coffee that the beans have been eaten by a civet cat in Indonesia, and then
Pooped
expelled from the cat, and it imparts an unusual flavor. This is all true. There's no,
wouldn't it be better just to boil them or something rather than doing that?
well, you ultimately do boil them. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Imagine that. What do you do, sir? Well, I walk around looking for,
I have a family of cats out back.
and I go through their droppings to make coffee.
That's right.
Okay. Well, let's move on to our next story. Whoever thought we'd be talking about that? But,
Hey, don't shoot the messenger.
hey, I have to look it up. I will not be getting a cup of that though in the morning. Yeah. What if your car was sort of like a therapist to you, Les?
Well, what do you mean by that, Fred? How are you feeling about that?
Yes. How are you feeling today, Mr. Jackson? I noticed you look a bit stressed. Would you like a massage?
Well, you
I'm
can
not
get that
asking.
in the
I'm
seat.
the car. I'm just pretending to be the voice.
Yeah, well, the seat will do that in a lot of cars.
Yeah, maybe you'd like some soothing music too, since you look stressed. Well, you know, we're being silly here, but this is a talking tech segment. Volvo is going to release their EX 90, which will be the replacement for their very popular model, all electric, no surprise there. But they want a vehicle that kind of uses artificial intelligence, interior sensors like cameras and things like that, to see if you're distracted, stressed, drowsy, or in another state that impacts your driving.
This this is this is a big deal because those characteristics equal a large percentage of crashes.
Well, I saw a guy that stopped for a light and started smashing his head into the steering wheel with the camera, with the system say, "You seem to be having a bad day." I suggest shutting off the engine and pulling over or turning off the ignition. There's a lot of talk about manufacturers potentially having to have a system where if you're drunk, it detects it and shuts down the vehicle.
Yep.
Could potentially be a requirement for vehicles down the line, just the same as a backup camera. But is this the extension of that? Maybe you're looking at your phone too much, and it will sense signs of cognitive distraction.
Or if you're a chronic tailgater, the phone says, "You obviously didn't pay attention to high school physics, did you?"
I'm slamming the brakes on. And, it's interesting. I mean, the industry is trying to get to a point where there are no traffic deaths or no accidents. And you look at traffic fatalities. Good news is they've declined for the first time since 2020. 2020 was when people were over the top crazy.
Terrible year. 2021 wasn't much better.
No, but 2020, I think, was the advent of people racing each other on the street and cutting in and out. I never saw that. But you look at some of these numbers, and it's a real issue. You don't think of how many people die in a car crash. But from April through June of 2021, I believe, April, June, 10,590 people died in car crashes, and others were injured, obviously. I don't have that number. There's been a slight decline in that, but when we talk about these systems for, I have your back and I'm monitoring you, you seem upset or you're driving poorly, it's good. I mean, some people just drive poorly. Do you ever notice that?
Some people drive poorly.
They can't
other
track
people,
their car. They can't.
That's exactly right. People fall asleep.
Right.
Of course, you and I and everyone else are behind somebody every day where you can see right through their window that they're texting or reading emails as they're driving.
I was behind a guy where the speed was constantly going down, and he would go over into the shoulder and then jerk back, and then I watched this, and I thought, man, if I was a cop, I would light this guy up and say,
absolutely.
Are you driving, or are you doing your laundry in here or something? I mean, he was on his phone, but each time you go further and further into the shoulder, and I thought he's just going to roll the car. It's going to roll off. There was no guardrail. He's just going to roll it off, and it's going to go upside down, and he'll probably still be texting. Something happened. I don't know what happened. It seems upside down.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, he would have gotten a distracted driving summons for that, because I would have said, I've been watching you for 2 miles, and it's not right. Anyway, but these systems could call you out on it and say you seem to be having trouble staying in your lane. Is there an issue? So, interesting technology. This is also interesting too. BMW has said it wants to limit the range of electric vehicles on purpose. And before people go all crazy and say, oh, they're trying to control where you can drive and that, they are limiting them to 621 miles.
That's
pretty good. Because even a hybrid car, I had one in not that long ago. It was Toyota Camry hybrid, 475 miles of range in a full tank. That's
which
amazing.
is that's spectacular, as opposed to the Mini I had 2 weeks ago, which had a range of 100 miles.
Yeah, I have to say, for me, even a range of 250 is kind of iffy. I want more.
It's iffy.
I would like a 400 to 450 mile range electric vehicle. I don't need 621.
Yeah, well, I got real aggravated with 100. Um,
100 is dicey because you're
it's
always
just
below 100. And
everywhere you go in our areas, you're throwing, you're putting on 40 or 50 miles.
right, so you're halfway there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That this is what
it
there's
just was inadequate.
well, certainly 621 would be adequate for me.
621, my gosh, there aren't many gas fueled vehicles that do 621 miles.
Maybe a diesel. Maybe a diesel would. I would say it's the
Diesel.
only thing. Yeah.
Um,
Well, they're saying about their Gen 6 batteries, BMW, they'll give you 30% more range than their current Gen 5. And they're going to stick to that 621-mile range. They don't need more than that, they think.
no,
And they'll be able to charge 30% quicker on DC chargers than their contemporary counterparts, meaning they will support super fast charging. Um, and that's kind of going to be the future, I think, for a while, topping off. You know, that's
yeah,
what I did with my electric car, but I did it with a 110-volt charger, um, and I just kept topping it off. And I knew it was only getting 5 miles an hour, but if
was
I do it,
my,
if I
yep,
do it over I can get 35, 40 miles. That's not bad of range.
that's what I did with the Mini every night. I
Yeah,
just left it on overnight. I was getting 3 miles per
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 hour.
hour of charging. They only draw 12 amps, most of
Yes,
these.
12 amps. That's what this
Yeah.
GV60 did, which is essentially the EV6 with a lot nicer features. So there is a Chinese company though that says they are going to build the fastest charging vehicle ever, and we will tell you about that after the break. Um, could we be getting to the same time to charge a battery as it is to fill your tank? Well, I don't know.
Mhm.
We'll talk about that when we come back on Cruise Control. Fred Staub, Les Jackson. We will be right back.
And
You're there.
welcome. Hey, hi, Fred.
Hello, Les. We were talking about electric vehicles. You and I had some experience with them most recently. One of the things is you got to find a charger and you got to wait there while you charge it. Wouldn't it be nice if they could charge up at the speed of tanking up a gas car, right?
Well, someday that will be true.
Now, Xpeng, the Xpeng G9 SUV from China, says it will be the world's fastest charging electric vehicle. They're claiming to add 124 miles of range in 5 minutes, and it goes on sale in China and Europe starting in October with a price of $43,800.
Okay.
What do you think? 436-mile range on the long-range model.
Well, first, I wouldn't buy one for lots of reasons.
Yeah, it's not going to be offered in the U.S., I don't think.
Well, no. I mean, I would worry about the service ability of something from China, without a large dealer network. Also, there are plenty of electric vehicles that give you about, 60, 80 miles in 5 minutes.
5 minutes, or is it 15 or 18?
With a level 3 charger,
Yeah.
which you'll find on the interstates.
Yeah. The idea too is topping off. That you're going to top off your battery, and that's I think kind of if you're taking a trip, you don't charge it all the way. You hit it for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, get what you can, and then eat a sandwich and get back on the road, right?
Well, that's right.
But that goes against, I always want to have a full tank, as full as possible of gas. I always fill it up, even if I'm down a half tank or whatever, even 3/4 tank. I'll just sometimes just go in and top it off, so I have a full tank.
Right.
So, let's do an As the Tesla Turns, huh?
Oh, I live for it, frankly.
This has to do with an owner. It was a video, I believe, on TikTok. I don't really go on TikTok, but it was an owner that bought a new Model S in 2013. Found he could not. He got a warning that said high voltage battery warning. He could not get in the car. He could not unlock the car. Right. So.
Well, that's an issue.
That's an issue. He sold it. He sold it, and the guy had to take the front end of the car apart to somehow get in. And the guy basically, they looked at the vehicle. What had caused the problem is a poor design, Tesla design, where an air conditioning vent went right into the top of the battery pack and corroded it out. So dumping water on a battery is not a great idea, is it?
Well, it probably rotted the wood that the battery was tie wrapped to.
But the zip ties stayed. The zip ties from
the
Home Depot
zip
stayed.
tie lasted, but the wood rotted in the.
Yeah, well, you're referring to the time we did the story where someone opened took a panel off their Tesla, and they found wood molding, furring strips just broken off with zip ties holding something on. He says he's done. Tesla's out of his life. He'll never buy another one. That's the type of reports you want, right?
That's right.
And then here's another thing. 1 million Tesla vehicles are recalled because the window can pinch your hand. This is stuff that the last time they had a recall for that was a BMW in 2003. Why are they having problems with basic stuff like this?
Yeah, all cars, well, except Tesla, have a pressure transducer on the window motor, and if it reaches, it's for children, and if it reaches the pressure that would be required to break your hand, it goes back down.
Right, sort of, kind of like a garage door, I guess, huh?
Yeah, it's similar. I've actually I've actually tested it,
With your head?
and not with my head. I did it with my hand, and it pushes pretty hard before it releases. Not on a Tesla. I wouldn't try that, but
And it would just keep going until your
it
hand
would
was,
just cut the fingers off.
yeah, and with the motor, just keep pushing on it. Um, and then they talk about a recall, and Musk says that's an outdated term. He doesn't like using the term
Yeah.
recall
Well,
because he'll just tweak the software, do an over-the-air upgrade. Well, why doesn't he just do it then before it gets to a
yeah.
recall? So that's kind of abbreviated as the Tesla terms. But I love the fact of having a car that is battery powered. It's not that old, 2013. You can't get into it, and because of a flaw, it destroyed the batteries. And I think they just told him,
Well,
you want to
a
replace the
22
battery, it's $20,000.
20. That's just come on.
And this is a problem. They just, but who's engineering these things? It's very easy to route a drain around the battery, isn't it? Like if you're
Once
building
again,
something in your house and you saw, oh, that's going to drop water on an electrical panel, you wouldn't just
Yeah.
say, oh, well, yeah, that's it. You would get some hose and route it around it.
We've talked about this for years, that that these are silly problems that the industry solved in the 70s, and Tesla just doesn't.
I don't get it.
So
I don't get it. Well, here's something completely different. Ford built their Godzilla engine, the 7.3. It's actually used as a truck engine, but they have a crate motor version of it with 430 horsepower. They say it's great to drop into an old Mustang. Wow.
I'm sure.
And it is a pushrod engine, just a big V8, right? Now they're going to, according to CarBuzz, they have already trademarked the name Megazilla, and that they're going to put out a twin turbocharged version of this as a crate motor. How will that be? That would be nice. In your Fox body Mustang.
I don't think you could get it into an old Mustang.
If you use a big hammer and an even bigger hammer, you might be able
No hood.
No hood. Well, it's funny. They showed the development vehicle, which is a Mustang, and it has this giant wedge thing on the front of it to fit it in the hood. I was like, I would just take the hood off for the time being because that looks stupid, But they did manage to jam it in, but you're definitely going to need a different hood, that's for sure.
Wow.
Yeah. What an engine, though. That will be interesting, won't it?
It would be cool. This, way back in the early 60s when you had the big engines, the Chevy 409 and the Ford 406, those were all truck engines that they modified over to cars.
Well, let's face it. Even the current Corvette engine is based. You buy it.
Yeah.
There's a different tune and that, but it's what goes in pickups. They make one V8.
Right. And the Viper
was
V10 was truck engine.
Where they had a standard tune V10 engine.
Mm-hmm.
Was that called the Copperhead, if I remember correctly?
Is that what that was?
I don't know whether that was the Viper name for it or if that was the truck version of it. But yeah, V10. They used to have it. Pretty cool. Megazilla. Get the T-shirt. There you go. Hey, we hope you've enjoyed this edition of Cruise Control. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com and on our social media platforms, our YouTube page, and more. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We're going to see you down the road.
Bye.